Hello, good evening. Welcome to Bottomline. My name is Kenneth Jesse. Tonight, we're discussing boosting Ghana-Indonesia business relations. Do you know that the famous Indomie comes from Indonesia? So how best can Ghana and Indonesia transact trade and business for mutual benefit? I'll be speaking to Pascal B. Roy, who is an honorary consul of the Republic of Indonesia in Ghana. We'll be delving into those activities after the break. Right, you're welcome back to Bottomline. As I mentioned earlier, we're discussing the trade between Ghana and Indonesia. How well do you know that trade partnership? Well, let's turn to our video wall pretty shortly and see the exports we've been making to that country and vice versa. Right, so behind me, as you can see, from 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 18, 19, 20. So these are the trade volumes. The chart shows ascending, descending, ascending, descending, ascending order. So, I mean, as the years have progressed, Ghana has been exporting quite a lot to Indonesia. So the last export we have here, 2019, was 40 million. So that's quite a huge number, an impressive number, considering the trade partnership between the two countries. So these are the main things that the country exports to Indonesia. So, of course, cocoa and cocoa preparations. We exported a total value of almost 31 million US dollars in 2019. Now, in 2019 as well, we exported oris, slag, and ash in excess of 8.26 million US dollars. Now, in the same year, 2019, we exported cotton valued at a little above 1 million US dollars. We also exported iron and steel, which is a little below 500,000 US dollars in the same 2019. Now, in the same year, we exported aluminium valued at 349,000 US dollars. And then we also exported fish, aquatics, invertebrates worth 192,000 US dollars. We exported lead worth 68,000 US dollars. We also exported wood and articles of wood charcoal. That's quite interesting, worth 64,000 US dollars. We also exported machinery, nuclear reactors, boilers, worth a little above 1,000 US dollars. And we exported ceramic products worth $214. And we also had the exportation of live animals worth 125 US dollars. Right, and this is also from 2017 to 2012. So $7,000 US dollars. And then we also exported printed books, newspapers, and pictures worth 970 US dollars, glass and glassware worth 487 US dollars, toys, games, sports, requisites worth 190 US dollars. And then furniture, lighting, and coal worth $50, articles of leather, animal gut, harness, travel good worth $50, articles of iron or steel worth 11,000 US dollars, plastics worth over 400 US dollars, and then something like oil seed, grain, seed, fruits worth 544,000 US dollars in 2014 alone. That's very impressive. And then in 2013, we exported organic chemicals worth 14,000 US dollars. And then we also had the likes of copper worth a little below 5,000 US dollars being exported to Indonesia in 2012. Right, let's come back to the studio and have a conversation with His Excellency Pascal Royce, who is the Honorary Consul of the Republic of Indonesia in Ghana. Good evening, sir. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How do you say good evening in the Indonesian?
Indonesia has various languages.
That's true.
Bahasa, like in Ghana, we say one of the languages is the. So Bahasa is the largest,
language.
the main language that is widely spoken, where you can tell somebody terima kasih,
Right.
Which means thank you.
Okay.
And then you respond to say sama-sama.
Right.
So when I tell you that, then you can just say, so
Right.
I call you Pa. Pa means like Mr. or a man. Okay, so you can say Pa Royce, like you can also make it that way. So I'll say terima kasih.
I forgot what I'm supposed to
Sama-sama.
say. Sama-sama. Well, good to have you on the show. I mean, a lot of people, when we talk about trade partners of Ghana, you talk about the EU, China, the United States, and other countries. Indonesia really is not often mentioned. But as the chart that we showed, I mean, it shows that there's been some progress between the two countries when it comes to trade. Tell us, how is the business partnership between Indonesia and Ghana going?
Okay. I would like to start from the genesis, where we always say Indonesia and Ghana had this friendship since 1959.
Right.
When our two presidents, I'm talking with regards to Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and Sakano, our former president, His Excellency. These two presidents happened to be the very first president of each of this country. And the relationship began from that time. I would say it was very well from the very beginning, and now it's deepening much more or much better. When you look at Indonesia, even in the palm plantation, for instance, it was picked from West Africa.
Oh.
Yes, it was picked from West Africa, Benin, Ghana, and some other countries. And just like Malaysia also picked it. And then they sent it to Indonesia. And we are their grandfather when it comes to palm plantation. And they are our children or our sons. But today, they have tended to be much producers than us.
Right.
And they have returned to be our grandparents instead. Yes, so looking at the trade aspect,
Right.
we are doing more now in regards to importation, but not too many in exportation. Meaning we are expecting Ghana to be sending raw materials or certain finished products to Indonesia, whilst Indonesia is doing same. But when you look at it, we are not really doing much regarding that. And I would like us to look much more into Indonesia. Indonesia is the fourth largest populated country,
Yes.
with a total population of 270 million people. That should tell you a lot more about how large they are.
Yeah.
And if Ghana or Africa as a whole can look into Indonesia, I believe we will do so much with this country.
I think a lot of people really do not know that Indonesia is that big. I mean, let me quantify it. It's much populated than the likes of Nigeria and even Russia. It's also the most populated island in the world.
Yes.
That's my little knowledge about them. So you mentioned that, we gained our independence almost during the same period, but right now we're a bit of not on the same pedestal. In terms of trade, what lessons can Ghana learn from Indonesia?
Thank you very much for such a great question. And the answer is there are a lot for Ghana to learn from Indonesia. We have to learn, or we have to be willing in the first place. Are we ready to really learn from Indonesia? Indonesia is ready, is willing to show us how far they have come. This is a country that used to export raw materials just like us. But today, they are producing countries. They are a producing country. They no longer export the raw materials, but what they tell themselves is to work on the raw materials into a finished product. You come to us and buy it. For instance, Now, electric vehicle is overtaken now. And when we look at the raw materials they use to manufacture batteries and all this, being the tin, the lead, and all that, Indonesia is one of the largest producers of that in the raw material state. But now, they are no longer exporting such raw materials. Instead, they are manufacturing the batteries. So all these electric vehicle batteries, majority of them, I can even say about 60% of it globally is being sourced from Indonesia. Yes. Right. So what the lessons we can learn from Indonesia is, how did they make it?
Yes.
How did it happen? Indonesia, I believe Dr. Kwame Nkrumah learned from that, is still working with their state-owned enterprises. Where are our state-owned enterprises in Ghana, in Africa? But Indonesia is managing their own. Where they are having challenges, they open the doors for private entities to come in, have a little bit of the shares so that they can run it properly. And when you look at all the products that they are manufacturing also, Indonesia manufactures their own aircraft.
Right.
Indonesia is into manufacturing of their own aircraft. PTDI manufactures helicopters, manufactures commercial aircrafts, and for military purposes and for commercial purposes as well. Indonesia is manufacturing their own vessels, ships, of which Ghana has benefited from some of these ships already.
Right.
The Navy has received about 4 vessels from His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, quite recently, not too long. All those vessels were purchased right from Indonesia. They are Indonesia-made. And then recently, about last week or a few weeks ago, Ghana Maritime Authority also has received 1 vessel.
Right.
Which they call Charlotte, a certain name that they name it. It's Indonesian product. Wow. These are all Indonesian vessels. We have the product right here with us. And I want to encourage the government to really take Indonesia as we have been friends to learn from.
Right.
Yes, we don't need to really, go back or feel shy about that. Let's find out from them. How were you able to do this and to get this far?
Yes.
Indonesia manufactured not only the various products that I've mentioned, but they in the pharmaceutical sector, right. They are manufacturing a whole lot. Even the product you know about in Ghana here, Procode for fluid, it's an Indonesian product.
Wow.
And when you talk about vaccines, Indonesia is manufacturing their own vaccines. The early childhood vaccines are being produced by Indonesian company, which is a state-owned called Biopharma. Right now, Biopharma is working, I'm working hand in hand with Biopharma to see how best we can bring the factory down here to Ghana to help Ghana also to start developing such type of vaccines. And we are looking into the pharmaceutical companies that are here, like Kina Pharma, like NS Chemics. Speak to some of these people, because UNICEF has been buying this from Indonesia, right, to give back to Ghana as part of their donation. That is the early childhood vaccines. When you look also into other sectors like the beauty, soaps and other products, we have Indonesian product here already in the market.
Right.
I'm talking about soaps like Medisoft.
Oh.
Medisoft is an Indonesian product.
I never knew.
Yes. And we already have the factory here in Ghana. It's in Tema.
Wow.
Yes. And Medisoft has been around for so long. Could you believe that in that same sector, detergent and all that, So Clean is an Indonesian product.
Wow.
So Clean by Wings Group Limited from Indonesia. So this product are with our Santex hand sanitizer during the COVID. You saw all that.
Don't say.
And then the mosquito repellent and all that. These are products coming from Indonesia. You and I used to use a match, or we call it matches. The 3-leg pot match or matches.
Yeah, people
where
still
they draw
use them.
a pot on
Yeah.
it. It's an Indonesian product.
Wow.
If you are watching us, get to your kitchen, take your matches, look at the back of it. It's written there, made in Indonesia. So you can see how far Indonesia is going.
I think the most famous Indonesian export to Ghana is Indomie. Because Indomie is also
and I'm getting there too.
Okay.
Yes, and the Indomie,
Yeah.
which is the favorite of everyone, being the adult, being kids, It's an Indonesian product. What is the meaning of Indomie? It simply means Indonesia noodles. We say, in Bahasa or in Indonesia language, mi means noodles. Mi.
Right.
It means noodles.
Right.
So, and a short form of Indonesia is Indo.
Oh.
So this simply means Indonesia noodles. Indomie. That is how come we were able to get the name Indomie, and it's an Indonesian product. And we have other products also in terms of when you look at your other side, we're looking at clothing, batik. If I show you a batik that is made with hand, in Ghana or in Africa, we call it tie and dye, but their own is batik. And this batik, it doesn't fade.
Wow.
Yes, and it's very beautiful in terms of the clothing and textile side. So Indonesia is really producing a lot, and Indonesia manufacture leather and other products as well. In the various sectors, we're looking at all the sectors, such as agriculture or agro businesses. The seafoods, Indonesia is leading. The oil that the vegetable oils that we eat here, Indonesian vegetable oil is the best on the market.
Wow.
Could you believe Welma, that produces oil and then soap, right here in Ghana is an Indonesian company. So you can see that Indonesia is willing to help Ghanaians. Yes. I'm coming back to your question, but are we ready as Ghanaians to learn from Indonesia? I believe we cannot isolate ourselves, or we cannot be far from the truth. We just have to learn. If Indonesia today is producing their own railway coaches, from the hybrid to locomotive.
Wow.
Yes, by Wika. And they are constructing their railway lines and also hydro dams. Power. When you talk about electrical cables on the market now, today, Indonesian electrical cable is the best.
Wow.
Yes. And Indonesia is doing so well, but there is one thing that they believe in. They believe in government institutions. They believe in rules of law. They believe in principles. We also believe in that. But it looks like we are not doing what is expected of us. And I would encourage every businessman. I would not say the government. We are all the government. Yes, we are all the government, and we are all involved. And what we can do is to learn from Indonesia, give them the opportunity to come down here.
Right.
And train us. Indonesia is doing so well by giving scholarship, which we will talk after, in order to train the people in Indonesia. Ask them to come back to Ghana and implement the ideas or the knowledge they have acquired in Indonesia. So I believe so much that if Ghana is given the opportunity, we have tried other partners or countries, we were not able to really benefit that much. We haven't given any chance to Indonesia. I am using this medium to plead with His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo and also the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Ayoko, to look into this and see how best can we bring Indonesia to Ghana to assist us. Because Indonesia also did not do this alone. They were able to partner with other surrounding countries. That is how far they were able to have the ground and build themselves today.
Right. So if Indonesians, you're saying that we should open the doors for them to come and invest in the country, what are some of the priority areas that you would want them to invest in?
Okay, we will look at the health sector,
which
is the pharmaceutical side I told you about. Biopharma is willing to establish a factory here to serve the African continent, because of the AFTA, the African Free Trade, which is an opportunity for us to really manufacture within Africa, which will give us some leverage and other things.
That's true.
So Indonesia is willing to come here or produce and come and do the finishing here. And it is for that reason I am on the search, looking for which of the pharmaceutical companies would be best to partner with biopharma. We are also looking at other sectors. They are also into vehicle. Indonesia manufactures their own armored vehicles. They manufacture their own weapons. They manufacture, I'm talking about anything that is involved, the automobiles that is involved in all these aspects of, electronics.
Yes.
Okay? Also electronics and mechanical. They manufacture all this. So if Indonesia is saying they are willing to come to your country to help you also succeed, to become the real gateway to Africa, then you have to be ready to open the door for them. Ghana used to be visa-free to Indonesia, but Indonesia never had the opportunity to be visa-free. Oh, yes. So
is it still visa-free?
It's after the COVID, every country was trying to, build a wall against themselves. Yeah. And so the visa-free has been taken off for now, but we are still a non-calling visa country.
What does that mean?
Okay, it means necessarily there are some process you have to go through for your visa to be accepted by one country, but you have been given the leverage, whereby you don't need to necessarily pass through a whole lot before approval, before the process is done. Yeah. So, even though we get the visa now, Ghanaians get the visa easily and much more earlier ahead of all the calling visa countries. Yes.
You did mention that we all started with Indonesia, but they're far behind. They're far ahead of us right now. What do you think are some of the barriers that is preventing Ghana from getting onto that level?
I believe we need to look at our policies as well. Policies are very important. And if we can give the opportunity to these foreign countries such as Indonesia to come in, bring their equipment. Land litigation is one of the issues we have here in Ghana, where you will get the land and afterwards you are heading toward to court and etc. This discourages most of investors. Then we're looking at the tax system also. Yes, I know most African countries believe so much that it is a huge tax that will make them to provide amenities and social amenities and etc. But however, when you look at it, it is not really the case. Because if you are able to give me a very good tax system, and I know I am a trader or I'm a businessman and I am working and I can pay that tax, I don't think I can underdeclare. Because willingly, a lot of people would have been paying taxes and that would have been going to the government, much more than it is not going. So when we look at the policies, these are some of the things that discourages them. Because bringing equipment to Ghana or to come and set a factory and produce, and the tax system is high, that alone is going to kill the business. And then also, shipping, when it gets to clearing, you and I know the tax system involved in clearing our goods, etc. These things are very, very discouraging. And also within the African region, I wish we could all agree to the borderless agreement, whereby we can remove some barriers. Other than that, this African free trade mission will not be, successful. Because one, if I am producing in Ghana here, and somebody else is producing in Benin, and I take my products to Benin, there's going to be a kind of, in-house fighting. Competition. Not the positive competition. They will do everything possible, whereby they will try to kill your business. Yes. And I believe if we are able to remove those barriers, a lot of things would go in favor of Ghana in particular, because Ghana is having the headquarters here. And I think we can look much more into that and do better than we are doing.
The country is hosting the 38th International Trade Expo, I believe. Tell us a bit about it. It last hosted it in 2019, I think.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about it.
All right. We are organizing or having our 38th Trade Expo in October, coming October, which it will be starting on the 18th of October and ending on 22nd of October. And we are organizing Ghanaians. We are asking all Ghanaians all over, the country and outside Ghana to follow us to this trade expo, what are some of the opportunities for them? It gives them the opportunity to meet various over 1,000 exhibitors. You can imagine the type of product you're going to meet, the type of business partners you are going to meet. And when you look at these business partners, they will either partner with you to establish here, or they will help produce product for you in terms of you importing into Ghana. Most of these products are produced for Africans, are produced for other parts of the world, because we have almost same weather.
Right.
So you could see that their products are really for Africans.
Yeah.
So that is why they are always focusing on that. And I believe if businessmen and women in Ghana take the opportunity to go to Indonesia for this trade expo, and even after the trade expo, to look into their various products, it will help us more. We will have more of their product here. Even though we have more here, more would have been added.
A lot of people, have this fear that, opening up to certain countries, for example, China has, recently become a big trade partner for Africa and Ghana in particular. But China has more of, become a menace as well. We have so many Chinese people getting into the areas of Galamsey, destroying our water bodies and so on. There's the fear that should we give Indonesia that kind of leverage, it might turn out to be the next China taking advantage of our people. What do you think?
Okay. Indonesians are Ghanaians, and Ghanaians are Indonesians. Why I said this is, in the early days of their independence,
right,
people from Elmina, Ghana, other part of the regions, some from Volta region and other part, left here to Indonesia to help them fight for independence. And some returned after fighting with them, and some decided to stay. Those are the people we call the Black Dutch, or the Black Indonesians.
Yes, I have seen some of them on the telly before.
Even when you go to Elmina today, Elmina Castle, there's this a place called Java within the castle that is Indonesia for you. Yes. So you will see that Indonesia had Ghana at hand. And because of this, the relationship we have with Indonesia, they are willing to assist us in all areas and in all sectors. In the oil sector, we are in a talk with the Minister of Energy and Petroleum Commission, because they want to come down to Ghana and, help Ghana to achieve their goals, work together. When you look at the mineral sector, they are looking for critical minerals. They are looking for Ghanaians to give them the opportunity. The gold you are speaking about, that someone else comes and do the galamsey and destroy the water bodies. I wish you could give Indonesians the opportunity, and you will see how they will do this. Indonesians will not destroy your water bodies, because they have policies put up in Indonesia. And such policies is what, when they go to any other country, they fall on that same policies. And if you give them the opportunity, they will do the mining in a large-scale form, not in the small scale or the galamsey way that you are referring to. But they will make sure they do it in a proper way. Like I said, other countries have been given opportunity by Ghanaians and by Africans, but they have never given the opportunity to Indonesians. And I believe if Indonesians can be given the opportunity, Ghanaians will be very happy to work with them.
Does Indonesia have a huge population in the country, like other Asian countries do?
Yeah, we do. We have about 60 people here.
Okay.
Yeah, some are Reverend sisters, some are nurses, some are in some schools teaching, and some are also married to Ghanaians here. Yes, and some are also working here with their company. Some are in Kumasi, in the Volta region whole, and in Tamale and other parts, yes.
Right. Let's take our first break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation here. You're still watching Bottomline here on Metro Television. We'll be back shortly with more. Right, you're welcome back to Bottomline. My name is Kenneth Jesse, and tonight we're discussing how to boost Ghana-Indonesia business relations. And I'm in the studio with His Excellency Pascal Royce, who is an honorary consul of the Republic of Indonesia here in Ghana. Good to have you once again. Let's go back to the trade expo that is happening in Indonesia. You've told us about the opportunities that abound when you have the chance to go. Tell us about the process. How does someone join if they want to go?
The trade expo is to open opportunity for Ghanaians per se to benefit from the various products that Indonesia is into, with both SME and then the large scale manufacturers. I believe so much that working together on the trade expo with Ghanaians will give this opportunity of one, having the ideas of some of these products, how they are manufactured and how they can get access to them. Now, the process of falling into the trade expo or going for the trade expo is just for you to make or to let us know at the consulate that you are interested. And then you come, we register you. Registrations go by you applying for the visa, and the visa processing, everything is very easy. We are giving it to people that are interested of going to Indonesia. And to say, people are like, oh, how much will it cost? We are going with Emirates. We've been able to organize that. But when you go from 15th, we will leave on the 15th, as I said, of October. And then we will get there on the 17th midnight or 16th midnight into 17th. Then on 18th, the trade expo starts, which is the opening ceremony. Yes, so we will allow members to rest for one day before the opening ceremony. And then when you get the opening ceremony, from the 18th, exhibition starts, 19th, 20th, the 21st to 22nd, and then we'll start. As we are going, we are programming all your costs in terms of your accommodation, in terms of your transportation, which is the air tickets, and inclusive the shuttles or the buses that will be used. All that are inclusive the package. The package is so nice to the extent that people are asking, are you really sure the money will be up to that? We said yes. After the trade expo, we are opening up to members to have a 3-day B2B, conversation, to seal deals, to speak to the manufacturers, to speak to the business men and women that they have come across. Then they can be able to seal a deal before leaving. Then on the 25th, 26th, we will go for open shopping. There is an open market in Indonesia, which is one of the largest open markets. We are going to take everyone there, to that open market to get some clothing, to get some stuffs. And then on the next day, we will go for the mall shopping.
Okay.
Yeah. And on 27th, 28th, 29th, we will fly from Jakarta to Bali, which will take us about 2 hours within same
Bali.
country. Yes, Bali. And Bali is in Indonesia.
Yeah.
And Bali, according to Forbes News, is the most visited place in the world.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll go to Bali and then watch the beaches, watch the beautiful places, get some spa. Enjoy ourselves.
That even reminds me. So the latest survey also says Indonesia is the most visited country in the world.
Yes.
That tells a lot about.
Yes, Indonesia is the most visited place, and that is tourism.
Yeah.
And I wish Ghana could also learn from that and work on the tourism which we have here as well. And then after the Bali day, we will go to Nusa Dua.
Okay.
Nusa Dua is just an hour drive from Bali. It's just next town after Bali, an hour drive. We will go and look at the beaches, look at the very, beautiful environment. And Bali and or Indonesia has a natural environment. It is not artificial.
Right.
So the moment you get off from your plane, you could see the air there changes, especially when you enter into Bali. And on the 30th, we return to Ghana. And all these, once you are able to register and pay, you are good to go. You can come to our office, which is behind the post office at Adenta, or
Right.
you call our telephone number, if you permit me to mention.
Go
That is 05960901118. 05960901118. Once you get in touch with us, we are willing to take you through the process. And we have minimized the process and every other thing because we have had an agreement with Emirates and then with the embassy as well to give visa to people who are willing to go.
That's beautiful. Let's read some comments from our viewers who are watching us, or wherever they are watching us from. And then this one says, good evening. Our leaders are not serious. We went and trained in India. We came back with modules that can push us into entrepreneurship and human resource development. No support to implement them. I pray they listen to you. And this one also says, wow, very interesting. Olivia Asamoah, watching you live from Ashongman Estate. And then this one says, good evening, Mr. Host. Good evening. And it says, the ambassador spoke about how Indonesia developed their country by its own state companies. But come to Ghana, what do we see today from Akufo-Addo and his corrupt MPP government? They sold out all our state-owned companies and kept the left ones into family and friends business affairs for nepotistic interests. I quiz, how does a country develop under this act from one family and friends, business-minded, who are in charge of our beloved country? It goes on and on and on and on and on. I don't think this is something that is peculiar to this government alone. I mean, since Nkrumah left office, there's been series of governments that have come that have not been able to maintain most of our state institutions, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, what lessons can we draw from Indonesia? Leveraging on the state institutions that we have. They've built upon their foundation right from independence till now. And people seem to be very worried that even if we get the chance to go to Indonesia for these expos, when we return to this country, the implementation is going to be very difficult.
Okay, thank you very much. But to say this, it is our problem, it is our fault. We intend to elect people into leadership, or we elect leaders based on who we know, but not because they are visionaries. And if we elect visionaries into our leadership roles,
Right.
I believe things will change. And that is what Indonesians are doing. It is not about who you are. It is not about which political party you belong to. It is not about the party colors that we are saying here. It is going to affect all of us. There is no way you will say it is this party that is suffering today or that party that is enjoying. It's all of us. But I believe what the viewers are saying, yes, they have their right to say that.
Right.
But as we are growing, I believe the young ones are really, really learning a lot from this, most especially from the previous leadership that we have. Like you also said, yes, after Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, you said that all our state-owned enterprises have gone down. And I believe it's the management. Yes, I think if Ghanaians could now allow private entrepreneurs or private business owners to run the country, rather than, excuse me to say, politicians, it will work out.
Right.
Why am I saying this? This is someone who has been managing his business for so long.
Right.
Pass through the ups and the downs and try some strategies, and things are able to work. And that is what happened. In Indonesia, could you believe that the Minister for Defense ran with the president as an opposition party? But they are together working.
The same
Now, we
government.
don't work here.
Yeah.
Once you are not in that one political party,
Right.
we feel we cannot give you a position.
Right.
I believe we need to look at that also.
Right.
Because you cannot have all the good ones in one packed in one political party. I don't believe in that
Right.
ideology. That is what Indonesia is doing.
Right. We're wrapping up shortly. Someone says, please, his number again. So briefly, can you call out your number again?
Okay, 059 60 90 118. 059 60 90 118.
Right. Briefly before we go, in the documentary that I watched, that said that Indonesia is the most visited country in the world. One of the things that struck me most was the affordability in that country, how affordable it is. I mean, it did mention that you can get a hotel, a decent hotel in Jakarta, that is the biggest city, for around $30. Yes. And compared to this country, there are some hotels around that are not up to par with anything. They charge $300 and co. So I think we have a lot to learn from Indonesia if we really are to move forward. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, but I want to thank you very much for coming. 30 seconds, if you can give us your departing words so that we can wrap up.
I just want to assure Ghanaians that we are already doing very well. I would like to leave this message with them that peace prevail, and the only way that we can live in this country is to learn to live with each other.
Right.
When there is peace, there can be more opportunities for us to be able to build this country better than it is.
Right.
And I said Indonesia is willing to assist Ghana once they give us the green light.
Right.
And I'm still saying that Indonesia will definitely be the best partner, the real partner for Africa and for Ghana.
Right. That is Pascal Royce. He is the Honorary Consul of the Republic of Indonesia in Ghana. And we discussed how to boost Ghana-Indonesia business relations. I'm afraid the messages that are coming in, we are unable to read them for you because we've run out of time. We have to make way for another program. But thank you very much for being a part of the show tonight. My name is Kenneth Jesse. See you next week.